Elders, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. We were discussing Surah Waqiah, and we said it's chapter 56. It has 96 verses. It is a Meccan surah. It was revealed before the migration of the Prophet to Medina. And sequentially, it is reported to be the 44th surah, between chapter 20 Surah Taha and chapter 26 Surah Ash-Shu'ara. Next slide please. And a quick reminder about the reward of reciting this surah. من اشتاق إلى الجنة وصفتها فليقرأ سورة الواقعة. You want to understand the description of paradise. There are several other surahs in the Quran, but one of them is Surah Waqiah. Or the riwayah says that whosoever recites this surah قبل أن ينام, before he goes to sleep, لقي الله ووجهه كالبدر, he will meet his Lord and his face shall be shining bright, brilliant, in a darkness where there is no light but the light that you bring with yourself. And light here is a metaphor for enlightenment, for illumination, for righteousness, for the right faith, for the right character. Next slide. Or the other riwayah says that whosoever recites this surah, لَمْ تُصِبْهُ آفَةٌ وَلَا فَاقَةٌ, he shall not be afflicted by any poverty. Could be physical poverty, could be spiritual poverty. And the final riwayah says that if you recite this every eve of Friday, أَحَبَّهُ اللَّهُ, God will love him, because God loves perfection, and therefore this surah somehow brings about goodness and perfection in the reciter, so God loves him. وَحَبَّبَهُ إِلَى النَّاسِ, and when this person becomes good, he becomes lovable, and therefore people will begin to like him. Next slide please. The main themes covered in this surah, we can break it down into 6 paragraphs. Number 1 is the introduction, ayah number 1 to 6. إذا وقعت الواقعة ليس لوقعتها كاذبة خافضة رافعة إذا رجت الأرض رجا وبست الجبال بسا فكانت هباء منبثا. When that great event shall occur, which is so overwhelming, it is irresistible. Once the signs become clear, nobody can deny it. It will raise some, it will lower some. Those who were apparently successful for the wrong reasons will be lowered. Those who were considered low for the wrong reasons shall be elevated, because their true nature of righteousness and goodness shall manifest itself. And this will happen after the collapse of this physical universe and the conventions and the customs that we live by on the earth. Everything that was considered to be the norm for the wrong reasons, when all that will collapse, the end result will be the inner truth shall come out and 3 groups shall be formed. Second paragraph, ayah number 7 to 10. وَكُنْتُمْ أَزْوَاجًا ثَلَاثًا, and you shall be in 3 groups. فَأَصْحَابُ الْمَيْمَنَةِ مَا أَصْحَابُ الْمَيْمَنَةِ, there'll be the righteous. وَأَصْحَابُ الْمَشْأَمَةِ مَا أَصْحَابُ الْمَشْأَمَةِ, there'll be the left-handed. And أَصْحَابُ الشِّمَالِ, and then وَالسَّابِقُونَ السَّابِقُونَ. In paragraph 3, these 3 groups are then rewarded. So first, the muqarrabun and the sabiqun, from ayah number 11 to ayah number 26. That على سرر موضونة متكئين عليها متقابلين يطوف عليهم ولدان مخلدون بأكواب وأباريق وكأس من معين لا يصدعون عنها ولا ينزفون. I've given the list in the next slide please. Yes. And they shall be served وفاكهة مما يتخيرون ولحم طير مما يشتهون وحور عين كأمثال اللؤلؤ المكنون جزاء بما كانوا يعملون لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا تأثيما إلا قيلا سلاما سلاما. This is a list of reward for the muqarrabun and the sabiqun. Ashabul Yameen في سدر مخضود وطلح منضود وظل ممدود وماء مسكوب وفاكهة كثيرة لا مقطوعة ولا ممنوعة وفرش مرفوعة إنا أنشأناهن إنشاء فجعلناهن أبكارا عربا أترابا. Next slide please. After that, there is a third group mentioned. The Ashab al-Shimal fi Samum wa Hamim wa Dhillin min Yahmum. The punishment that shall be given to them, and the reason for that will be because they were doubting, no, they were denying, and they shall be sent to the fire of hell, and there will be shajar min zaqum famali'una minha al-butun. They shall eat to their fill, and they shall drink, they shall feel very thirsty and drink from that boiling water. And this is just hospitality that we extend to them on the Day of Judgment. This was group 3. Paragraph 4 then discussed the 7 proofs for why Qiyamah must be there. I haven't put them on slide. So ayah number 57 to ayah number 74. This paragraph discusses 7 proofs for why Qiyamah should be there. Number 1, نَحْنُ خَلَقْنَاكُمْ. We're the ones who are powerful enough to have created you the first time, so we can do it a second time. Proof number 2, أَفَرَأَيْتُمْ مَا تُمْنُونَ. Look at the water that you produce. Are you the ones who can create the child and enable the fetus to grow, or are we the ones who do it? If we can do it, if we are the ones who do it, why do you doubt our power to do it again? And number 3, نَحْنُ قَدَّرْنَا بَيْنَكُمُ الْمَوْتِ. Not only do we have the power to begin, we have the power to stop. If you are powerful enough, stop us. This is an expression of His power. Number 4, لَقَدْ عَلِمْتُمُ النَّشْأَةَ الْأُولَى فَلَوْلَا تَذَكَّرُونَ. You have seen how wonderful is the creation Allah has made. Do you think this wonderful creation is without purpose? God, the All-Perfect One, must be the All-Wise. The All-Wise One must have wisdom in His work. That wisdom is, there's a purpose in creation, and that creation is not only to enjoy for a few years on this physical earth. Proof number 5. أَفَرَأَيْتُمْ مَا تَحْرُثُونَ. Do you see the seed when it's planted? Are you the ones who enable it to germinate and to grow? أَأَنْتُمْ تَزْرَعُونَهُ أَمْ نَحْنُ الزَّارِعُونَ. Number 6. أَرَأَيْتُمُ الْمَاءَ الَّذِي تَشْرَبُونَ. Do you see the water? Are you the one who keeps it pure and who enables it to reach you through this water cycle? And finally, أَفَرَأَيْتُمُ النَّارَ الَّتِي أَنْتُمْ تُورُونَ. Do you see the fire even? The heat and the energy that you manage to produce. Are you the ones who cause the energy to be released from the tree? Or we are the ones who generate that energy? Different expressions basically of God's power, essentially directed to those who doubted the possibility of ever there being life after death. And Allah says, but if you do accept that there is a God, and therefore this God by definition must be all perfect, otherwise it's not God. And therefore He's all powerful, and these are different expressions of His power. Necessarily, therefore, He has the power to recreate a second time. Next slide please. So we come to the 5th paragraph now. Ayah number 75 to 82 is a discussion on the nobility of the Quran. But before we start that, there's just one more ayah, which is the end of the previous paragraph. We forgot to discuss it. Ayah number 74. فَسَبِّحْ بِاسْمِ رَبِّكَ الْعَظِيمِ. If God is so, those 7 proofs are discussed. He's the one who created the first time. He's the one who enables the fetus to grow. He's the one who can cause death. He's the one who can make the seed germinate. He's the one who has purpose in creation. He's the one who provides water. He's the one who provides fire. If these are the different manifestations of God's power and majesty and authority, فَسَبِّحْ. Next slide. Therefore, make tasbih. بِاسْمِ رَبِّكَ الْعَظِيمِ. glorify, celebrate, praise the name of your Lord. Why? Because He's all-powerful and He's perfect in His power. He has no defects. Not only do you glorify Him, but you glorify His name also. Name here indicating description. He's got different descriptions, different qualities, different attributes by which He shows Himself. You glorify not Him alone. Yusabbihu lillah. You don't only make tasbih of Allah, but you also make tasbih of His names. Different names. Glory be to God the powerful. Glory be to God the all-wise. Glory be to God the all-merciful. Different names. Fasabbih bismi Rabbik, your Lord, your provider, your cherisher, your nourisher. Al-Azim, the great one, the supreme one. The seven evidence are expressions of His greatness, of His azamah. And that's why the riwayah says that the Holy Prophet, when this ayah was revealed, make tasbih of your Lord, the great one. The Prophet said, Ij'aluha fi ruku'ikum. Put this ayah into practice in your ruku'. Why? Because ruku' is the outward manifestation of the sense of humility that we feel when we imagine His greatness. And this ayah is instructing us to express that. Subhana Rabbiyal Azimi wa bihamdih. In another riwayah, the Imam alayhi salam says, Lamma usriya bihi, when the Prophet was taken for that nightly journey to Mi'raj, and he reached a point where he saw the different signs of God, and the majesty of the Lord overwhelmed him. ذَكَرَ عَظَمَةَ اللَّهِ. He spontaneously went to ruku' and he expressed that humility in these words, Subhana Rabbiyal Azimi wa bihamdih. Because the riwayah says, the Rawi asked, why do we recite Subhana Rabbiyal Azimi wa bihamdih in the ruku' and a'la in sajda? And then Imam explains that this was the reason. So one way to achieve true humility is to imagine the different expressions and manifestations of God's power. And 7 proofs are mentioned in Surah Waqiah. Next slide, please. Can we go back to the previous slide? I just want to give an overall view. Yes. Ayah number 75 to ayah number 82 now discusses the special status of the Quran. فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَوَاقِعِ النُّجُومِ. I swear by the stars. That's a printing mistake. I swear by the stars and their setting place, or their rising points, or their orbits. Mawaqi' can have different meanings. I swear by the stars. These are not ordinary objects. These are huge, awesome objects. And therefore I swear by them. Look at the grandeur. Look at the majesty in their creation. I swear by them. وَإِنَّهُ لَقَسَمٌ لَوْ تَعْلَمُونَ عَظِيمٌ. And beware, be alert, that this is not an ordinary oath. I'm not taking an oath. وَالتِّينِ وَالزَّيْتُونَ. And by the fig and by the olive. That's an oath also, but it's a small object. It's an important item, yes. But then there are different sizes and different functions of different structures in the universe. Perhaps the biggest is a star. There is no entity man has yet been able to discover bigger than the star. And I swear by them, Allah says. I swear by the biggest. That what? إِنَّهُ لَقُرْآنٌ كَرِيمٌ. This is an honorable, it's a noble book. It's not an ordinary book. It's not poetry that you Jahili Arabs were accustomed to, and you praised so much the literary prose and the poetry that you heard. You were fascinated. Oh no, but this is different. I swear by the biggest, this is the best. فِي كِتَابٍ مَكْنُونٍ. And it's well preserved, well guarded. لَا يَمَسُّهُ إِلَّا الْمُطَهَّرُونَ. None shall touch it. It's untouchable except those who are the purified ones. تَنزِيلٌ مِّن رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. It has been revealed It's not the work of a poet. It's not the work of a madman, God forbid. It's not the work of the sorcerer. It is not borrowed and plagiarized from other scriptures. It is the revelation from the Master of the universe. Tanzilun min Rabbil Alameen. أَفَبِهَذَا الْحَدِيثِ أَنْتُمْ مُدْهِنُونَ. Do you now treat it as an ordinary book and you degrade it so low? وَتَجْعَلُونَ رِزْقَكُمْ أَنَّكُمْ تُكَذِّبُونَ. You literally have made it a habit for yourself to simply doubt and deny, despite all the proofs that are being presented to you. This is a brief outline of this paragraph. We'll go into details of each of these verses. Next slide, please. Next. No, yes. Right. فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَوَاقِعِ النُّجُومِ. And I swear by the places where the star sets. Mawaqi', plural of mawqi', can be translated or interpreted in one of the four ways. True, Allah swears by different entities, but in this particular case, He is swearing by the biggest entity, the star. He could be swearing by the fact that every star has a specific orbit. Mawqi' here meaning the setting point and the rising point. Can you just click the next slide? This is a stone formation in the state of Utah, United States. This is a special photography whereby it's a composite picture whereby the stars in different positions have been amalgamated together. This is the appearance of the position of the stars at the different hours of the night. You notice they follow a particular path. Of course, it is not the stars that are moving. It's the earth which is rotating. But stars have their own orbit. Can we go back to the previous one? Yes. Or no, mawqi' here could mean, I swear by the star, this huge, beautiful, wonderful object, bright, shining, I swear by it at the time when it sets. Don't be so much impressed by the apparent beauty that you see. This is just superficial, or this is just temporary. I mean, even the star sets, this huge object. But what's more important is the power behind this. فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَوَاقِعِ النُّجُومِ. Or no, it could mean that as the star sets, it's as if it is bowing down in humility before the majesty of the Lord. Or no, it could be مَوَاقِعِ النُّجُومِ, the star sets. Setting here is not the daily setting and the rising, it's the final setting. The setting when all stars will finally die. And therefore it's an expression of God's not power only, the expression of God's justice. That's when the stars shall finally die, God's justice and the absolute truth will then manifest itself in its complete form. These are awesome entities, and we tend to ignore them. I think it's worth reminding ourselves. And the distance of the stars, some of them are, it takes almost 100,000 years for the light just to reach us. That's how far they are. And how they're different stars. The size could be lesser than the sun, the size could be equal to the sun, or the size could be much bigger than the sun. And once they die, how they die. And then there is the white dwarf and the red dwarf and the black hole. 1 teaspoonful of black hole material equivalent to a whole cruise ship. It's amazing, awesome what's out there. But we don't know. We just we don't even lift our heads up to see what's out there. The Quran wants us to attract our attention to these realities. فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَوَاقِعِ النُّجُومِ. I, the Creator, I am taking an oath by one of the most important creations. And those are the stars. The orbits, the rising, the setting, the life, the birth, and the death. Next slide, please. Next. إِنَّهُ لَقَسَمٌ لَوْ تَعْلَمُونَ عَظِيمٌ. And it is indeed a great oath compared to the amount of information the early Arabs had at the time when the Quran first talks to them, till the knowledge that we have gained recently, and it's still expanding. Next. I swear by the biggest and the most powerful and the awesome entity. The creator of that entity is also the author of this book. Innahu laqur'anun kareem. It's a book, definitely, very clearly. There's no doubt about it. Why do you doubt? If you have any doubt, why don't you produce something like this, if you can? Innahu laqur'anun kareem. The description of kareem, it's a noble Quran, an honorable Quran, honorable and beautiful in its style. Look at the words that have been selected. Look at the sentence structure. Look at the paragraph structure. You have seen nothing like this in your literary proses that you yourself produced. It's powerful and honorable and noble in its substance and the material and the content it's talking about. You never heard of these things before. And even as knowledge expands, there's nothing that can refute or contradict with the information that's included here. Because the author of the universe is the author of the book. They can't be contradictory. If you find it contradictory, maybe you haven't understood the universe, or maybe you haven't understood what the Quran is talking about the universe. And the speaker, if he's honorable and noble, definitely therefore his speech will be honorable. Innahu laqur'anun kareem. If it is kareem, it will give you karama. If you also read and imbibe the message, you'll also become kareem. You will also become noble. It ennobles and it gives you honor. Fi kitabin maknoon. This format, the word format as it is in our hands, is not the only version. There is another version. Fi kitabin maknoon. In that version, it's preserved, it's guarded, it's protected. The same description is there in another surah, Surah Al-Buruj, chapter 85, where Allah says, بَلْ هُوَ قُرْآنٌ مَجِيدٌ في لوح محفوظ. Lawh, tablet, mahfuz, protected and guarded. Books and versions that are in your hands could be subject to alterations and distortions and misinterpretations and additions and subtractions or deletions. However, if this version is backed and supported and based on another version at a level of knowledge of God which is unalterable, unchangeable, then this, as a reflection and manifestation of that version, cannot change. In other verses in the Quran, the reason for why the book is guarded and protected and unchangeable is because the original version is with God. In Surah Zukhruf, for example, chapter 43, in the beginning verse, Allah describes Hamim wal Kitabil Mubin, and this book which is manifest and clear that in its message, clear in its being a miracle. Inna ja'alnahu Qur'anan Arabiyya. We have made it into Arabic format and words. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ. Because you are the primary audience and you have been selected to receive the book for the first time, and you then shall convey to the others. So it's been made into Arabic, the word form. وَإِنَّهُ, but at the same time, فِي أُمِّ الْكِتَابِ لَدَيْنَا لَعَلِيٌّ حَكِيمٌ. At the same time as it is with you in the Arabic, it is with us also. فِي أُمِّ الْكِتَابِ, in the mother book, the main book, the original manuscript, the unwritten form. It's the knowledge of God. لَعَلِيٌّ is very high and therefore untouchable. Hakim, very compact, very solid, and therefore unchangeable. This is another way of saying that the original knowledge.
I saw it coming.
If we take words as expression of what is there in the mind, if the mind mind is that of an expert. And that expert has reached this knowledge through, let's say, experimentation, and has reached a level of certainty and conviction because he knows, for example, for a particular disease, there's a particular treatment. This particular drug has been tested in laboratory animals, it has been tested on human patients, and it has been tested in the hospital setting, in the village setting, in every country in the world. This man says, I have a lot of data collected which tells me that under what circumstance, with what dose and what frequency and what method of administration this particular drug will have this particular effect, and what are the side effects. This man's an expert. He's an expert. Even if you take away the books, up here everything is there. You take him anywhere and he can speak out and tell you what is up there. So the word format is an expression of what is the level of conviction and certainty in the mind of this expert. Likewise with God. The Arabic book is a reflection of what is there in the Kitab, Kitab Maknoon, Lawh Mahfuz, unalterable, unchangeable, cannot be distorted, cannot be added to, cannot be subtracted from. Next slide, please. لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. None can touch it except those who are purified ones. Purified ones could refer to one of three things. This ayah could mean to say that nobody is allowed to touch this book unless he is purified. Purified through the ritual purification of either wudu or ghusl. You're not allowed to touch the words. The riwayah says, Al-Mushaf, the Quran, لا تمسه على غير طهر. When you're not in the state of tahara, don't touch it. ولا جنوبا, neither when you are in need of the major ablution or the minor ablution, either ghusl or wudu. The second interpretation of this ayah is لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. Nobody can touch it. Touch it here is not physical. Nobody can access it from the top, from that level of God's knowledge, but those who are purified ones. And one interpretation of the purified ones are the angels. So notice, for example, in Surah Abasa wa Tawalla, the angels have been described to be those purified ones who reveal and bring down the message from God. Kalla innaha tadhkira. Surah number 80, Abasa, ayah number 11. فَمَنْ شَاءَ ذَكَرَ فِي صُحُفٍ مُكَرَّمَةٍ مَرْفُوعَةٍ مُطَهَّرَةٍ بِأَيْدِي سَفَرَةٍ كِرَامٍ بَرَرَةٍ. It is in a purified form out there, up there. It is brought down with these honorable messengers who are pure in themselves, and they bring it down to a prophet who has purified himself. So access, touching here doesn't mean only physical touching of the words of the book, but it also means the access to the book as is up there, or no, access to the true inner meaning of the book. Because the book has several levels of meaning. There is one level of meaning which is something that's accessible and available to every ordinary, average, intelligent reader. You can read the Quran. If you don't know Arabic, you can read the translation. It's talking to the average mind, and therefore you can understand what it means. Lakini, because the author is unlimited in his knowledge, definitely there is a second meaning which is deeper behind this apparent superficial meaning. In fact, there will be a third level, and a fourth level, and a fifth level, and endless levels. Sababu, the knowledge from which it springs is endless. Question: can we have access to the deeper levels? Yes, up to a certain point. But beyond that, no. Because access to deeper levels requires tahara, requires purification. If the mind is not purified from evil thoughts, if the character is not purified from evil character traits, if the behavior and actions are not purified from sinful, disobedient, defiant activities, There is no purification. And whether we like it or not, our spiritual status is directly affected by what we do and what we think and what we feel. Whether we like it or not, it affects us. There was a patient who had suffered an accident, an injury, a gunshot injury, and the injury was to his stomach. A lumberman, Canadian. This was back in the early part of the 20th century, and it was an amazing character because he did not come for immediate treatment. So what happened was that gunshot wound healed gradually, but what remained behind was a hole in his stomach. Sorry, stomach is on the left. So literally you could see a hole. If you remove the bandage, you could see a hole, and through the hole you could peer inside into the stomach, the inner lining of the stomach. The inner lining of the stomach had begun to line the passage that was created from the wall of the stomach to the wall of the skin. The stomach lining can change depending on the digestive state. If it is a hungry state, or if it is a satiated state. So when you're hungry, the stomach is ready to receive food, so the digestive juices start flowing. So let us say, if you bring some tasty, delicious food in front of this person, you yourself will feel saliva flowing into your mouth. But also there are digestive juices flowing in the stomach. So you can literally see the juices oozing out. That's when he was hungry. But the more interesting thing was when he was angry, because that affected his stomach lining also. And the stomach lining became red, and the juices would dry up. The emotions are also, and the feelings are also affecting the body. It's not only the question of affecting the body, the mind also is affected. There are minor microscopic changes that take place with whatever we do, whether positive or negative. If it's a sinful behavior, even a sinful thought or a sinful feeling, definitely it affects us. We may not be able to see it, but it's there. Technology perhaps someday will enable us to see all the results. So this ayah says that there is a deeper level of the Quran, but the in-depth understanding is accessible only to those who are purified. One of them are the angels, but there's another group of people who have been described in the Quran as the purified ones. Can we go down the slide? We'll come back to this. Next. Yes. And that is the ayah in Surah Ahzab, chapter 33, verse number 33, which says that إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. It is the will of God, all the members of the Ahlul Bayt, that He should purify you from all rijs, from all impurities, and to purify you a thorough purification. In order to appreciate how the Ahlul Bayt were purified thoroughly from all types of rijs, look at what the Quran describes as rijs. In some verses, for example, chapter 5, ayah number 90, Surah Ma'idah, actions which are sinful have been described as rijs. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إنما الخمر والميسر والأنصاب والأزلام رجس من عمل الشيطان. This is the work of the devil to entice you to gambling, to entice you into betting with these divination arrows, to entice you to alcohol. This is the work of the devil. And this is rijs. It's something that will defile and pollute and make you impure if you engage in this particular behavior. This group of people has been protected from impurity. 1. 2. Incidentally, alcohol is an example, and there's some other verses which talk about other actions which qualify as pollution and impurity. There's a second category of verses which say that it is the wrong thoughts that qualify as rijs. So for example, in chapter 6, Surah An'am, ayah number 125, Allah describes the rijs that comes to people because of the wrong belief that they have. فَمَنْ يُرِدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ, whosoever Allah wills that he should be guided, يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ, his heart becomes receptive to accept the truth. If Allah wills to guide someone, when the message is delivered to him, he's very receptive. He's not resistant to the truth. وَمَنْ يُرِدْ أَنْ يُضِلَّهُ, but there are those whom Allah wills to leave in misguidance. Allah guides everyone by sending prophets, by giving them aql, by giving them the curiosity to seek the truth, by giving them a conscience which can recognize good from evil, by exposing them to miracles, by exposing them to challenges that make them think, can this be so, what I believe in the idols, or what I believe in powers other than God? Is this the true God? God guides everyone at every stage. Lakini, there are some people who keep on consistently avoiding to accept. These people then reach a point where Allah says, well, I've done everything, but they're refusing. So now the decision is to leave him in his state of misguidance. You have been told this is poison, don't consume it. This is good diet, eat this food. But he keeps on going for that harmful substance. Once that harmful substance is consumed, Allah has created that food to have a particular, or drink to have a particular damaging effect. And the damaging effect keeps on building up. Just because he is making a mistake, Allah will stop that damaging substance from having its harmful consequences on the body and on the mind? No. Who is the one who is poisoning the body? Is it the consumer or is it the creator of that substance? Same thing happens in the spiritual world. Spiritual world, we've been told that if you seek the truth, if you avoid sins, if you're rational in your thinking, if you are receptive, you will see the truth and you will accept it. But if you keep on following your desires, you keep on running away from the truth, you keep on denying knowingly that this is true but you deny it, you reach a point where Allah then leaves you. This is the description. وَمَنْ يُرِدْ أَنْ يُضِلَّهُ, and whosoever Allah wills then to abandon in a state of misguidance. يَجْعَلْ صَدْرَهُ ضَيِّقًا حَرَجًا. The opposite and the contrast from a receptive mind is the constricted mind, the mind which is narrow-minded, which is not ready to accept the truth. كَأَنَّمَا يَصَّعَّدُ فِي السَّمَاءِ. The physical parallel of this is like the person who climbs to a higher altitude, and you see how his chest becomes constricted. He starts breathing fast because now the air and the atmosphere is rarefied. كَذَلِكَ يَجْعَلُ اللَّهُ الرِّجْسَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. This is an example of how Allah gives rijs to those who don't believe. They've been given the chance to accept the truth, they refuse. Now they're suffering from the pollution and the impurity of the denial, consistent, persistent denial of the truth. Lack of faith, rijs. Or for example, in Surah Yunus, chapter 10, ayah number 100, describes the rijs when you refuse to think. Despite all the proofs being presented, a person refuses to use his mental critical faculties. Allah says this is now, he is suffering from rijs. مَا كَانَ لِنَفْسٍ أَن تُؤْمِنَ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. No nafs can accept the truth, but if Allah wills it so. Allah has willed it for everyone. Otherwise He would not have created us. Otherwise He would not have given us aql. Otherwise He wouldn't have given a conscience. He wouldn't have given us this nature, a human nature which is curious and seeking the truth. He wouldn't have sent prophets who suffered so much to deliver the truth. He wouldn't have sent books. He wouldn't have guided us by showing us His signs everywhere. Allah wants us to believe. وَيَجْعَلُ الرِّجْسَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ. Those who don't use their aql, they're the ones who then are punished by rijs, this impurity, this pollution. Or for example in Surah Hajj chapter 22 ayah number 30, فَاجْتَنِبُوا الرِّجْسَ مِنَ الْأَوْثَانِ. Idol worshipping, it's pollution, it's deviation. The truth is something else. The idols have no power, they can't see, they can't hear, they can't receive any messages, they can't do anything for you. They can't even protect themselves. Even if a fly sits on their nose, they can't do anything. But this is the basic truth. We don't need to go to university to understand the idol is so helpless. Any average intelligent person will recognize this. And yet there are people who don't accept it. That this is a problem here. Now the mind is deviated, it's polluted. The mind is suffering from a rijs. And Allah says, avoid the rijs of idol worshipping. It's deviated thinking. Or for example, in the third category of verses is the description of rijs as a deviated character. Chapter 9, Surah Tawbah, describes the event of the Battle of Tabuk, where the Prophet mobilized the Muslims to go and engage in this battle, but some gave excuses, especially the munafiqeen. So this ayah condemns them, that the munafiqeen suffer from rijs. Ayah number 95 says, سَيَحْلِفُونَ بِاللَّهِ لَكُمْ إِذَا انْقَلَبْتُمْ إِلَيْهِمْ لِتُعْرِضُوا عَنْهُمْ. When you come back from the expedition, O Prophet, they will come to you and they will offer their excuses why they could not join you. And they will not only simply offer their excuse, they will emphasize it by swearing by God. I swear by God, this is my problem, this is my problem, this is my problem. And that's why I couldn't come with you. And so, be compassionate and merciful towards us. Forgive us. This is what they'll say to you. O Prophet, how should you deal with these corrupt-minded people? They knew where the truth is. They knew that defense of the truth needs sacrifice, yet they refused to do it. How should you treat them? فَأَعْرِضُوا عَنْهُمْ. O Prophet, don't forgive them, boycott them. They willfully and deliberately avoided helping you when you needed their help. Why? إِنَّهُمْ rijs. Not only their thinking is rijs, not only are their actions rijs, they are rijs themselves. They're pollution, avoid them. Notice how the character of an individual can degrade itself to become rijs itself. Conclusion. There are some people whom Allah has purified from all types of rijs, all types of wrong beliefs and thoughts, all types of sinful behavior, all types of evil character traits. إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ. Or the members of the Ahlul Bayt. Question, who were these people? The ayah appears in Surah Ahzab, ayah number 33. The preceding verses and the succeeding verses, 34 onwards, and before 32, they talk about the wives of the Prophet. And therefore it would seem, because this text appears in this context, therefore this verse, Ahlul Bayt, talks about the members of the Prophet's family, meaning the wives of the Prophet. Lakini, the wording of the ayah doesn't support that. The wording of the ayah suddenly shifts. All the preceding verses talking about the wives of the Prophet uses the feminine gender. The succeeding verses 34 onwards uses the feminine gender. But this particular phrase, the last phrase in ayah number 33, suddenly uses the masculine gender. There's a different group being talked about here. Number one. So already the reader is alerted. Something is different here now. Why is the gender tone changing? Number two, so you become inquisitive. Let me try to find out what happened. Why are there different people? And when you go to the riwayat, There's an interesting collection of the riwayat that clearly indicate that the members of the Ahlul Bayt being referred to here, who are the purified ones, are specifically the Holy Lady Fatima and her husband Ali and her sons Hassan and Hussein, and of course the Prophet himself sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The majority of the traditions are from one wife, Salama. And Salama, there's several traditions. Ata bin Yasir narrates from Salama, Abu Sa'id Khudri narrates from her, Abu Huraira narrates from her, Hakim bin Sa'ad narrates from her, Shahr bin Hawshab narrates from her, Abdullah bin Mughira narrates from her, Ata bin Abi Rabah, and Amara bint Af'a, this is a lady, narrates from her. I just quote one tradition of Salama. She says that, and this is from her, from the grandson of the Ahlul Bayt, Imam Rida alayhi salam, that she said that this ayah was revealed in my house, in my chamber, and it was on my day, it was my turn, the Prophet was in my house on that day. And on that day he called Ali and Fatima and Hassan and Hussein, and then Jibreel came to them, and the Prophet extended a cloak over them, a kisa, and then he said, Allahumma ha'ula ahlu bayti, Allahumma adhhib anhum al-rijs wa tahhirhum tathira. So at that time Jibreel said, wa ana minkum ya Muhammad, am I also a member of this group? And the Prophet said, yes, anta minna ya Jibreel. Salama then said, oh, ya Rasulullah, wa ana min ahli baytika, what about me, the wife? Am I also a member? Can I join you under the cloak? And the Prophet said, Kuni makanaki ya Salama. No, you've got a special status, you're a good virtuous woman, you have your own position, but you are not a member of this Ahlul Bayt. At that time then Jibreel says that this ayah was revealed, إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. Notice the numbers of companions who have narrated this from Salama. Notice the extra step the Prophet takes to demarcate, these are the ones under the cloak. Notice the request for inclusion, and the request is not granted, she is excluded. The same riwayah is narrated from Aisha also. She narrates that this is what happened, and the Ahlul Bayt includes these 5 members. In addition to this, other than these 2 wives, there is a whole list of other companions who have narrated this tradition, that this refers to the Ahlul Bayt. Atiyah from Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, Abu Baraza, Abu Hamra, Abu Layla, Anas bin Malik, Bara bin Azib, Thawban, Jabir ibn Abdullah Ansari, Zayd ibn Arqam, Zaynab bint Abi Salama, Sa'ad bin Abi Waqas, the father of Umar ibn Sa'ad, Abdullah bin Ja'far, Subayh, Abdullah bin Abbas, Umar ibn al-Khattab, Umar ibn Abi Salama, Wathila bin Asqa'. The whole list of companions who have narrated this tradition, that this specifically refers to these 5 members. Plus the fact that the Prophet is reported to have recited this ayah almost every day for a period of 6 months or 8 months or more, till the time of his death, after the revelation, when he would come to the house of the Holy Lady Fatima, and he would say, As-salah, as-salah, innama yuridu Allahu liyudhhiba ankum ar-rijsa ahl al-bayt. The Prophet's house was next to the mosque. The house of the Holy Lady Fatima was next to the mosque. Mosque is a place where the companions would congregate. This was in the presence of companions that the special status of this family is being clarified and announced repeatedly. These people, therefore, are the ones who have been granted the special status of having the deeper access to the deeper meaning of the Quran. Next slide, please. Sorry, yes, I think we need to go back. Yeah. Right, next. So, I swear by those awesome stars, this is not an ordinary book. It's a noble book. 1, it's protected. 2, it's untouchable except by the purified ones. 3 and 4, Tanzilum min Rabbil Alameen. It's a revelation gradually sent down to you, O Prophet, not in one go, not instantly, gradually, from the Master of the universe. This is not poetry. This is not a magician's mantras. This is not borrowed from any other scriptures. The author is the Master of the universe. It has been sent down to you gradually, O Prophet. Gradually, because in the Quran there's also reference to the question that was raised by some of the mushrikeen. O Prophet, how come, if this is a miracle, how come it's being revealed slowly? Why has this book not been revealed to you in totality at one time? In Surah Furqan, chapter 25, ayah number 32, وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, and those who disbelieve, they see the truth but they don't want to accept it, they disbelieve. لَوْلَا نُزِّلَ عَلَيْهِ الْقُرْآنُ جُمْلَةً وَاحِدَةً. Why is the Quran not revealed to him at one go, instantly? كَذَلِكَ لِنُثَبِّتَ بِهِ فُؤَادَكَ وَرَتَّلْنَاهُ تَرْتِيلًا. O Prophet, we want to give you the confidence at every stage of your challenging task of delivering the message to the mushrikeen and their different responses to you, their rejection, their ridicule, their derision, their persecution, their questions, their objections, their challenges. Over time, 13 years, they had different questions, they had different protests, they had different challenges. How do you meet them on different occasions? The Quran guided you at each stage. O Prophet, we wanted to consolidate and give you comfort and solace at every stage. لِنُثَبِّتَ بِهِ فُؤَادَكَ. If you, the leader, hesitated, the followers would not have been able to face the challenge and the persecution. وَرَتَّلْنَاهُ تَرْتِيلًا. And we recited it to you gradually. Don't read the Quran very fast. It was revealed slowly. You read it slowly. Do you want to learn the whole of the university back in primary school, stage 1? No. You learn gradually over time. And even at each instant, don't be in a hurry. The Quran was sent down slowly to the Prophet. And the Prophet read it slowly to you. What's your hurry? Why do you want to read it in a hurry? رَتَّلْنَاهُ تَرْتِيلًا. In chapter 17, Surah Bani Israel, ayah number 106, again, the same objection has been repeated. وَقُرْآنًا فَرَقْنَاهُ. And this is a Quran where we have made farq. We have made it into portions, different portions. لِتَقْرَأَهُ عَلَى النَّاسِ عَلَى مُكْثٍ. So that you will be able to recite it to the people gradually, slowly, under different circumstances, with different problems. They have different questions. They have different situations. They ask you different things on different times. So you need to explain to them gradually. And that's why we said it in stages. وَنَزَّلْنَاهُ تَنْزِيلًا. And we have sent it down gradually. Tanzilun min Rabbil Alameen. From the Lord. Why the Rabb? Because the Rabb is the one who is the cherisher and the provider and the nourisher. He's the one who wants to nourish us. He wants us to develop. He wants us to grow. And the way to grow is to do it slowly. And He is Rabb not only of Nas, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ, but Rabbil Alameen. He's the master of the universe. It's not an ordinary author and speaker. Next slide, please. أَفَبِهَذَا الْحَدِيثِ أَنْتُمْ مُدْهِنُونَ. Now that you recognize, I swear by these awesome stars, this is a noble Quran. This is a purified Quran. None but the purified ones can touch it. And it is the revelation from the Master of the universe. With these 4 descriptions, how do you treat it? You just make fun. Next. In Surah Tawbah, there's one more example of rijz given, and I wanted to share it with you. The munafiqeen are described that when the Quran is sent down to them, when a new surah comes or new verses are revealed, look at their response. Do they treat it with respect? Do they appreciate that this is a noble book, an honorable one? Do they appreciate that this is protected, that this is none can touch but the purified ones? Do they appreciate that this is a revelation from the Master of the universe? Or no? Their reaction is that of disrespect and disregard, in fact, of doubt. وَإِذَا مَا أُنزِلَتْ سُورَةٌ, when a surah is revealed, فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَقُولُ أَيُّكُمْ زَادَتْهُ هَذِهِ إِيمَانًا. So, have you heard? A new surah was revealed. So, which of you now has more faith in God because of that surah? Look at the fun, look at the ridicule, look at the jest and the mockery. أَيُّكُمْ زَادَتْهُ هَذِهِ إِيمَانًا فَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا فَزَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا وَهُمْ يَسْتَبْشِرُونَ. Oh, definitely those who do believe that there is a Master of the universe, and yes, He is the Rabb, and yes, therefore being the all pure, He will send a message which is all pure, and yes, the messenger who will receive it and who will transmit it are also purified ones. Once they receive this message of purity from the pure ones, definitely their heart will increase in its purity, definitely. فَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا فَزَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا. And because they seek perfection and goodness, and when they receive this message of purity and goodness, they rejoice. So one beautiful sign, whether we have faith or we have lack of faith or hypocrisy or diminished faith, one test is when a surah is recited, when we ponder over it, what is our reaction? Is our faith solidified and strengthened, or neutral, or we start making fun, or we take it lightly, or no, we rejoice. Oh, we've learned something new, we're moved. Oh, we're happy to learn something new. I've grown now. Spiritually, I'm stronger. That will be the test. Next ayah. And the next ayah then says, but the munafiqeen, وَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ. But their some hearts were sick. The munafiqeen. فَزَادَتْهُمْ رِجْسًا إِلَى رِجْسِهِمْ. The revelation of the Quran and the recitation of the Quran and of a surah and of an ayah, it just increases in their sickness and their stubbornness and their refusal. Let's pray to Allah to get the tawfiq to be able to appreciate this wonderful message sent by the Master of the universe to purify us. And the way to test whether we are on the right path or not is to see how is it affecting us. Are we increasing in faith, or we are neutral, or worse, we're increasing in our doubt. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.